With 10 years left to achieve the United Nations Sustainable Development Goal number 1, no poverty, more than 730 million people remain below the global poverty line. And of this astonishing number, over 2/3 of them work in agriculture. Is it a coincidence or is it an injustice? Today, the average farmer makes only about 14 cents for every dollar that consumers spend on the food they produced. 14 cents. That means that for all of the supplies, the land, the labor, everything that went into producing that crop, less than 2/10 of the revenue finds its way back to the actual farmer. This is indeed an injustice that can be traced back to the modern agricultural supply chain, as the movement of materials from middleman to middleman cuts a widening hole in the pockets of our farmers. Hello, I am your host, Mike Lake, and in today's preview, I will be talking with Camilo Ramos, CEO of Siembra Co., a digital platform putting the power back into the hands of the farmer by shortening the agricultural supply chain while allowing users, consumers like us, to virtually plant our own crops and enjoy the harvest.
Innovation, resiliency, discovery. Join Mike Lake, President and CEO of Leading Cities, as we explore the technologies shaping the possibilities of our future with a preview of tomorrow.
Hello and welcome, Camilo. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode of Preview of Tomorrow. And of course, I want to welcome all of our guests, both those who are listening and those who are watching. I'm so happy to introduce you today to Camilo Ramos. He is the CEO of Siembra Co., a digital platform connecting demand with supply in the agriculture industry by providing traceability and fair pricing. So Camilo, tell us, how is it that you got passionate and motivated to create a solution that dealt with the challenges of the agriculture industry?
Hi, Michael. Thank you very much by this opportunity. For us, it's very important. Siembraco is working very hard to have this kind of opportunities. Thank you very much. Well, Siembraco started in medium of the pandemic. In May of 2020, in Colombia, we were in quarantine, and all the country was closed by the pandemic, you know. In that moment, we saw the risk of shortage and the food safety was in risk. In that moment, I have been working in a bank by 10 years. And one of my activities was to evaluate financial models in the future. And I started to think about the consequence of the pandemic more than the biological risk. So the food safety was a very important thing that I thought that was in risk. And with my wife, we started to develop a solution for people who live in cities and don't have farm or knowledge about agriculture. They depend of the traditional market. And in that moment, the pandemic showed us the weakness and inefficiency of the traditional distribution chain. So I asked to some friends if they would interested to plant virtually without land, without farm. And they were interested. In that moment, we started to develop our solution to research about agriculture, and we found all the barriers and challenge that a smallholder farmer has. One important thing is that actually 54% of the farmers in Colombia are people 52 years old or older. So
Wow.
that is a big problem, and also is one of the reason why I grow in the city, because my parents came from the field to the series to find more opportunities, and also the parents of Julie, my wife. So we we grow in the city, but we have family in the field, and we saw all the barriers that they had, and we decided to quit our old jobs to develop Sembraco, um, and now we are here. So we are very happy by this. That is our passion. Feel that we are returning to the field, and helping our farmers, especially our smallholder farmers.
I was just going to say, you're doing so much more than kind of returning to the field and creating this virtual planting field, but you're really changing lives. I mean, in most places around the world, we have this dichotomy between the fact that food is one of the most important things we have or that we need, and yet the very people who are producing that food are often living below the poverty line. I mean, it's a real challenge for farmers to sustain a lifestyle and to stay above water. So well, give us a sense of what that challenge is like for farmers that you've worked with.
Yes. In Colombia, we have around 5 million smallholder farmers that live with less than $2 a day. That is a big problem. And in Latam, you can see the same factors. So the lack of financing access, the lack of information, technify of the crops. And one important thing is that technology um, is not or haven't implemented in the field from the last 50 years. So other sectors um, have a very big lack compared with the agriculture. Um, in that moment, when we saw that, that was our first mission. We work to improve the productive conditions of smallholder farmers. Um, they don't have access to financing, and in Latam, in general, in Colombia, we have around 8 middlemen between farmers and consumers, and they
8.
obtain aid. Yes,
Wow.
and
So
they
that's where all the profits are going. Everybody
yes,
takes a piece of the farmer's profit.
yes, because they in the distribution chain, in average, they obtain up to 320% of what the farmer receive. So, like you say, all the earnings are in the traditional distribution chain, in the middleman. Their value is to connect between them. But, for example, 1 hectare of melon produce 36 tons of melons, and the smallholder farmer receive around $10,000, while the final consumers pay around $42,000 by the same product. So, $32,000 stay in the distribution chain. And that is a very big problem. And also, we have volatility in the market, uncertainty. And this is a risk because farmers don't have incentive to produce.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's talk a moment about the middleman, because that's really what one of the main things that Siembraco tackles is eliminating the middleman, or at least reducing the middleman. I'll say, it's putting money back into the hands of farmers that have worked hard, taken all the risk, um, and it's also allowing individuals to create their own virtual farms. So tell us how Siembraco works.
Yes, we connect. Simbraco serves as a bridge that connects directly farmers with customers. Thus, we maximize the benefits for both parties. Do you remember the 320% that middlemen obtain? We distribute it between farmers, customers, and Simbraco that serve as a bridge. So we are working to improve the production in the field, because we eliminate the barriers to our farmers. When our customers plan virtually, they pay in advance. So with this money, we give the financing to our farmers at 0%, and also it represents a stable income for to them, because they sell to plan with our model.
Right.
And this represents stability, development economic, technification of the crops. We implement good agricultural practice. So one important thing with the farmers is to include them in the technological era.
Yeah. So walk me through. So I want to create my virtual farm. This is an app, right? I download it to my phone. What do I do?
Yes, it's very easy, Simbraco. It's very easy because it's an PWA, Progressive Web App. It's an application, but it's in the web. You can download it directly. You don't need to go to any app store.
Yeah.
It's very easy. Only simbraco.com. And you create your user, and you select the crops that you want to sow virtually. We have 35 variety of crops, and we have farmers in 6 departments of Colombia. So when you create, for example, watermelon crops, you planted three plants virtually. We assign your plants to our associated farmers who make it real. And we give all the resources, comprehensive support, and we do also the traceability of your crop. When the harvest is ready, you can use it for own consumption. We can send you to your home to sell or to donate. We also work with companies, and actually is the 98% of our sales are out through B2B market, and they are acquiring their inputs, fruits or vegetables with our model, because represent stability in the price for them, control of their inputs, traceability, quality requirements. So when the harvest is ready, we have a logistic system in which we do the logistic from the crop directly, from the field directly to your address. Also, in this way, we have a short circuit. We reduce the food, the carbon footprint, and you will enjoy fresh products, knowing the real origin, and more important thing, you will help a family, a farmer family.
Absolutely. And so are there limitations? I mean, I'm here in Boston, you're in Colombia. Can I still virtually farm?
Yes, you can do it, but the use that you can do with your harvest is to donate to vulnerable people. We have foundations that feed vulnerable people, and through them they are the channel in which we give the food. And also you can sell your crop or your harvest, and we give you a bonus to create other crop. So yes, you can do it.
Wow. And you're bringing like a whole new meaning of farm to table here. It's really impressive. And do you see that at some point, looking out 10, 20, 50 years from now, is this something that you expect that will spread all over the world, that everybody like myself can be ordering in advance my crops, having it delivered to my door or to my restaurant if I owned a restaurant? And if so, what do you see as the ultimate impact in 50 years from now? Is it to me, the consumer, to the farmer, to the community, to the whole world?
Well, it's a good question. 50 years is a long time. But our main goal is at 2030, impact positively at least 12 million people without technology. So to 50 years will be a huge number for us. Um, but we are working on that. We also are working to export, not only from Colombia, from other countries in Latam. You know, we have capacity to produce food for the world. So export is one of our strategies to grow our solution. And in 50 years, the only thing that I can say you is that you will know the real origin of your food, of your products. You can, you will, you will say to your families, to your friends, uh, from where arrive your tomatoes, and we will continue implementing technology in the field and working to improve the productive condition of smallholder farmers in the world in that moment.
And for the farmers, I mean, that's a real game changer, right? I mean, this is an opportunity to build wealth, to pass it on from one generation to another, to basically change whole family dynamics around the ability to move above the poverty line.
Yes.
It really is incredible. But there's also another piece we haven't talked about. I'll mention it real quick. It seems to me that by localizing things this way, we're also reducing the carbon impacts of agriculture. With, you know, if it's more localized, it's fewer carbon emissions, for instance. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, yes, there is, because you know when the middlemen do the logistic, the products travel a lot and are manipulated without control. So with Sembraco, we go directly from the field until the final destination. So we cut the carbon footprint. Also, we are looking for short circuit, and that is one of the reasons why we want to continue working with leading series, because our solution will improve the distribution chain. I think that our solution radically streamline the food distribution chain compared with the traditional channel.
Absolutely. Well, listen, our time went by way too fast here. I would really love to dive into some of these other impacts because you are creating a game-changing solution here, and there's just not enough time to cover it all. But thank you so much for your passion and compassion. You know, understanding the challenges that these smallholder farmers have, and you know what it means to them and their families to be able to produce. To continue to produce crops that actually yield them a greater financial impact. So thank you for changing lives. Thank you for taking the time to be with us here today on Preview of Tomorrow.
Thank you very much by this opportunity, and we hope that you will be a virtual farmer. Thank you.
And thank you for tuning in to this episode of Preview of Tomorrow. Listeners like you are essential to advancing our efforts to drive resiliency and sustainability for all. I ask that you give us a rating on Apple Podcasts or whichever streaming platform you prefer. Your feedback helps us to grow and share these brief previews of what life in the future can be. In addition to thanking our guest today, I want to thank Peter Roy and Demetria Bridges for making this podcast possible. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe and encourage others to also join us each week in previewing the possibilities of tomorrow.
Preview of Tomorrow is brought to you by Leading Cities, a global nonprofit driving resilience and sustainability for all by unleashing the potential of the world's cities. Join them at leadingcities.org.